Hey, bro, don't forget, it ain't the first 48, bro. It's 60 minutes, bro.
We heard a whole lot of lip service, but hey, anybody can do that. But between the lines,
come with the king, you best not miss. Even the score now, we need to score now. Back on that wall, when you hear that call, you know it's going down. We play from beginning to ending, you know how we finish. Turn at the bank, gotta handle our business. We need the ball, so it's time to go get it. Play with your heart when you hit, make like, me feel it. You with? You know I'm with. You come to the bank and get out of line, we sending a blitz. Say who you with? You know I'm with. That purple and black, and when we attack, you know what it is.
You're now locked in Zone 32.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time since you heard my voice, but welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast. This is old school. This is a duo. This is the first ever duo on this show. My name is Jake. This man's name is Will. People will come on, but they ain't on right now, so I ain't gonna say what's up. But still, it's been a minute since we've spoken. OTAs have passed. Mini camp has passed. And we're waiting for training camp to begin. So let's get into some narratives and get into some conversations about position group. So with the wide receivers, Bateman had bare minimum and up and down kind of OTA and mini camp and everything, which is expected because that's kind of in his career. He can get open, but can't make contested catches. If there's any kind of fight on the ball, he doesn't come down with it, as we've seen over the years. Then we can talk more about it. Malik Washington making the conversion quarterback to wide receiver, and he's reportedly been impressing in training camp. Not training camp, but in the offseason. So a little bit to be excited about. I mean, that's not the star-studded group that we're going to be looking forward to, obviously. Our money's going to be made in with the tight ends, with likely and Andrews. That just is what it is. And if we're relying on complimentary guys, that's totally fine. But Will, I'll ask you this. What were your thoughts on Lamar Jackson when asked about potentially getting together for off-season throwing sessions before training camp? Him saying his receivers got to come to South Florida, although he did say that in tongue-in-cheek. But still, what's your reaction?
Well, I mean, tongue-in-cheek or not, I think the message is pretty clear. You got to go to him. And I think he's kind of also saying, like, guys do come to him. So that's where the work happens. That's where the chemistry has been built in years past. And hold on, I'm just going to put this tweet out real quick.
Do it. Just to feel sound. Little inhale voice. Funny thing, while I was gone, I did metal vocals on a track recently. Should come out towards the end of the month.
All right. I'm going rogue here and just inviting random people on the internet to be on the podcast. So
yeah, fuck it. Let's see what kind of shit show we get into on a Friday night.
All right. So so Lamar saying that, I think basically he's saying, like, yeah, this is where we really do the team building. Like, in the building where you're working with the coaches, you're working on the little things that goes without saying. That's part of your job. But where you build that rapport, that chemistry, that trust that you saw last year with like somebody like Nelson Aguilar, who is a veteran and who worked his ass off with Lamar and who became his safety net and really outperformed a lot of the veteran players. I would say he outperformed, to me, even though like his yardage totals didn't outpace Odell. I feel like he was a more trusted part of the offense than Odell was for Lamar, because he was always there. Not to say that Odell wasn't, but for what we were expecting to get out of Nelson, he exceeded those expectations because of the work he did in the offseason. So
substantially.
I think, and that has been the criticism of Bateman, and he's even acknowledged it. So it's been a little weird to me to see, and he's doing his football camp, and it's early in the offseason, all that shit, right? But dude, you have your opportunity right now to sort of like wipe the slate clean, go to Lamar and be like, hey, buddy, like, give me a room in your house. I'm living with you until training camp starts. Be his shadow. That's what you need to do. And I bet Lamar would welcome that. So it's strange to me that we're seeing Bateman be anywhere but where Drew chiming in. It's strange to me. It's strange to me that we're seeing Bateman be everywhere, but with Lamar. I think he's missing his opportunity, and he's kind of he's not following through on the words that he's saying in public. So he's kind of proving Drew's points that it's just words until you put it into action. So
I mean, it's factual. I mean, let's take a look at other examples. I mean, it was short-lived, but Mr. Big Chest, aka Antonio Brown, aka failed rapper who wants to show off his wiener on Snapchat and all that good shit. He did room with Tom Brady for a couple of days, and they did look good until the Patriots cut him because he did more things to get himself removed from teams. I mean, it's one of those things. If you really
he did that. He also did that when he went to the Bucks too. Like he lived with him for the whole season. So
he did, and it didn't produce results immediately, but when it mattered, like was it Super Bowl 55, if I remember right, he did score a touchdown to go up 3 scores on the Chiefs. I mean, there's a reason why you want to be in your fucking quarterback's hip pocket and be in their ear. Like, not the TO way, just I was open, man, what the fuck? Just, hey, let's do this, let's get to it.
I'm going to pull the stats up, but I'm going to pull the stats up, but I think that Antonio Brown had a pretty sick season that 1 year in Tampa Bay. Considering he basically was coming off a year where he just didn't play.
Because it was because he had almost 2 years. It was like a year and a half, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think he went to the Bucks somewhere in the middle of the season. I could be wrong on that, but I think he joined part of the way through.
Played in 8 games. He had
his first year
45 catches for 483 yards, 4 touchdowns in 8 games. That's really fucking good.
That's a pretty good fucking stat line for that much time.
Right.
Like you would.
So in Tampa Bay, he played in 15 games. So basically, here's a full season, right? A full season of playing with Tom Brady. 124 targets, 87 catches, 1,028 yards, 8 touchdowns.
It's actually pretty
first downs. And that's in his age 32 and 33 seasons. And that's coming off of, like you said, over a full year of not playing and being retarded in the head and like basically like a murderer. Like I'm sure he's probably killed people.
Total fucking head case after obviously getting his brain scrambled on the field with. It could have been even worse because we saw Mr. Perfect just kind of Drew,
just so you know, Drew's saying send BDD the link. I posted the link on Twitter. Literally anyone on Twitter can click the link and join this right now. Anybody.
Even Mo can join us if he wants
to.
But man, shit. If you look at the Michael Thomas stat lines, obviously that's one of Drew's favorite receivers that he wants to bring over here, which is the catch percentage rate. I'd fucking do this on an old episode and take a look at his things compared to other receivers. I mean, 87 for 124 is pretty fucking efficient. That's close to 70%. Like I think it's over 70%.
I would be willing to bet if we sign, and I don't want to sign Antonio Brown, but I bet if we signed Antonio, I think Antonio Brown right now is a better receiver than Michael Thomas right now.
Yeah, I would actually agree with that because, I mean, the Saints offense, say what you want about Pete Carmichael and Derek Carr. Chris Olave is the man there. He's a better receiver than Michael Thomas at this stage of his career. If you're talking peak to peak, and Michael Thomas had a few good years. Like, really, his first 4 years in the league, it was very good. And then obviously COVID happened. He got hurt and played like shit his 5th year. Then he just went full sideshow Bob and just didn't play because he was fucking hurt.
Right. There's no question that Antonio Brown is Antonio Brown in any way you want to compare it, except in that one season. Like that one season that Michael Thomas had is a historically great season that I think probably one of the best seasons any wide receiver has ever had. But
he broke
total career. And I'm talking about literally today. You take those two guys, not like go back in time. I'm talking about you go find Antonio Brown right now, and you go find Michael Thomas right now. I'm taking Antonio Brown on the Ravens today over Michael Thomas.
With a clear head, with a clear mind, and a clear headspace, you're right. And To be
I'm
honestly,
saying
to be frank,
no. I'm not putting any qualifiers on it because I think Michael Thomas is pretty fucked in the head himself.
that's true too. Sideshow Bob is pretty fucked off. But I mean, to be honest, had his career not ended the way it did, there's a legit argument to argue Antonio Brown's one of the three or four best receivers ever.
Oh, absolutely. I think
his run from 2013 to 2018, not even Jerry matched that, which is insane.
Without the stink of his antics over the past few years, it's like
you can make a legit argument.
Yeah, people don't talk about how great O.J. Simpson was anymore.
Nah, and he was the first 2,000-yard rusher.
Right. And I mean, he was a fucking incredible football player, but all you really think of is obviously that he chopped his wife's head off. So, and now maybe he didn't. It seems like maybe she had a serial killer gardener that may have done it. So, but when you hear O.J. Simpson's name, you don't think dominant, one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL. You think, double murderer. So,
I mean, shit.
Antonio Brown, now you think the guy who just posted Hassan Reddick and called him your favorite corn song earlier today on Twitter.
Oh, no shit. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and he called me and Drew a cracker on Christmas Eve.
I do remember. That was funny as hell. He wanted y'all to pay him to come on this thing we call a podcast, and
well, now he's bankrupt.
Fuck you.
Yep.
Probably shouldn't have. He probably shouldn't have asked for money. Should have been like, you know what? Yeah, well, fuck it. I'll come on and shoot the shit. Start off some crazy business with these white boys. But hey, to each their own. That's all you can really say about that. This rap album's terrible, by the way. Fucking terrible. Whole lot of money. Trash. Full on fucking trash. Like, I'll listen to NBA YoungBoy before I listen to Antonio Brown. I'll say that. And I don't like NBA YoungBoy. Most of the shit that Drew spouts out.
Remember when everybody was when that was like the hot song for people when they were celebrating touchdowns and shit? That put
a
that
whole lot of money? Oh, okay. Right. I see most of those things and I'm like, I don't understand. They're like, you don't understand because you're not in part of the culture. I'm like, yeah, it's true. I'm old school and I listen to lyrical shit. You gotta have bars. You gotta have bars to enter my Spotify playlist or to get bumped on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. You gotta have bars. If you ain't got bars, you're not worth my time.
Exactly. It's like when I went and saw Rage Against the Machine a couple of years ago, I had no idea who Run the Jewels was. And when I showed up and heard them,
Killer Mike. Bars. Straight up bars.
They're sick, but
yes.
Like they don't get any sort of like they don't get any run or mention because they aren't this new style. They kind of have their own style, but they're very lyrical.
Very, very lyrical. Like, and most of the shit I listen to is in part of it's because it's lyrical, part of it is it's because it's some fucking hipster off the wall underground bullshit. But hey, That's the thing though. Aesop Rock in particular from Portland, bars, straight up bars. The Impossible Kids, a banger album start to finish. And the one he did, the more recent one he did with that beat maker Blockhead. Look up Wolf Piss after this.
Wolf Piss. That beat goes hard, and the dude, that fucking he spits like that whole album start to finish is phenomenal. That much I can tell you. I feel like you're setting me up for some like weird thing like lemonparty.org or some shit. I'm gonna look up Wolf Piss and it's gonna be like some old men pissing in each other's mouths or something.
Nah, I don't have those kind of antics in me. I have other antics in me, but I don't have those kind of antics in me. Like exploring the dark web for shit like that. Nah, if I got musical recommendations, Yes, buddy. Wolf Piss, Aesop Rock, and Blockhead. Do yourself a favor after you tune out of this. Fucking go on YouTube, look that up, or even Spotify. Either one. But listen to that song or that whole album with Blockhead. Phenomenal. So good. But either way, we got a little off track on the musical tangent.
We sure did.
We did. But hey, to pivot back to the Ravens side of things, the funny thing is, I think I was looking up the numbers. I thought Nelson Aguilar was actually a little better statistically in certain categories than Odell. And him, Odell, and Bateman were all kind of in a similar spot, like as far as catches, yards, catch percentage, tutties, all this and all that. Yeah, Nelson Aguilar vastly exceeded my exceedingly low expectations for him, without a doubt. And Bateman,
for sure.
with the kind of money he's being paid, you know this. He's a dude in the locker. He's a dude in the locker room, a dude in the receiver room, where they're not breaking the bank to keep him, so he's very easily replaceable.
Right.
And they're banking on maybe we're wrong. Maybe he's gonna bust out and turn into this dude. I doubt that at this point. This is year 4. You usually know how good of a receiver you have by year 3. So I mean, it's I don't know. Maybe it's the scheme. Maybe it's not the scheme, but maybe it's just the fit. Just doesn't work. Maybe he needs to be somewhere else. But that's too bad for him. At the same time, I will say this: I do still think he's wide receiver 2 on this team. As much I would like to say that,
You're saying?
I think he's going to be number 2 on the depth chart, right behind Zay.
He will be for sure. But Tez Walker is the logical fit at that spot, and he'll have to earn it. But I think he
sure.
will grow into.
He's going to have to outwork Nelson Aguilar to be the vertical threat, because Aguilar at his best throwing the long ball because he can fly. That's why he didn't work so well in Philly, because they tried making him a slot receiver to run all the routes. And he can run some routes, but he's a burner. Why do you think he balled out with the Raiders that 1 year with John Gruden before the emails got leaked? But that 1 year he was there, Derek Carr threw him the long ball. So, I mean, so now you have 2 vertical threats along with Zay, because you can use him as a vertical threat, but you can also use him underneath and pretty much wherever you want, except for contested catches. Although even then he can still make some because he plays physical in spite of his size. But Bateman is definitely not one of those dudes. You want to send everyone back, let them work underneath, maybe catch some first downs. But if I remember right, going back 2 years ago, this was before we drafted any of the receivers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like Instagram stories of Bateman and Lamar working out together from 2021 going into 2022, like that offseason?
One time, literally one, and that story was a video produced by Rashad Bateman, put out on YouTube. It was
that was the Arizona thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, in April of that year.
Yeah, because I thought they were together at some kind of a field. So I thought I saw Lamar post some shit with Bateman running routes and all that. But even still, I only make that point because 2022 was his best year, and then he gets hurt, and since then hasn't worked with Lamar. Hasn't really tried, like, outside of the Ravens organized things. So,
Bateman just doesn't. I don't know what it is, man. The guy just, like, dude, what is so hard to understand about this? It's like the coaches aren't going to tell you have to do this. You just have to figure it out and fucking do it.
Oh, you got to grind. Just period.
Yeah.
This is your craft. This is your moneymaker. If you're not working, your athletic gifts are going to run out. And Des Bryant's a major, like, poster child for this, because long time he didn't really work the route tree, not very nuanced. His best years were at his athletic prime. So from 2012 to 2014, he was beasting. As soon as he got caught up with a little injury and the body started to slow down, he wasn't Des Bryant anymore. Now he wasn't getting off press. Now he's getting clamps by physical corners. So, it's the thing.
Damn it. He's a fucking huge home run in the Orioles game. Motherfucker.
They're playing the Yanks still, right?
They're playing
the
Houston.
Bronx. Oh, shit, okay.
They beat the shit out of the Yankees yesterday, 17-5 to end that.
Damn! It's a fucking defensive football game.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
That's like a Bengals Browns game from the mid 2000s.
That's exactly right. It's fucking disgusting. So you remember that fucking Browns Bills game from 2009, fucking 9-6?
Yeah.
What was it? I think it was it Trent Edwards versus what's his face?
JP Lossman was another Bills.
Yeah, it was one of those two, and I think it was either Brady Quinn or Derek Anderson. Sorry, I think that one was Brady Quinn.
Which year was it? 2009?
2009.
Yeah, that would have been Brady Quinn.
Ugliest fucking game.
Yeah, Derek Anderson came before that.
Yeah.
So I've missed a couple times on quarterbacks, and Brady Quinn was one of my big misses. I thought he was going to be the truth.
It happens. Your allegiance was tested at that point.
Well, but
Notre
his
Dame,
measurables were off the charts.
Yeah.
He came out and did like 27 bench press. Like that fucking matters, right? But like his athleticism was crazy.
Right.
What do you got? You got fucking party time in your room? What's going on there, buddy?
Something like that. Be gone. But anyway, so to cap off wide receivers, I mean, it kind of is what it is at this point. You figure because of Tylan Wallace's punt return against the Rams, maybe he's in the mix for the return game. Maybe it's Deontay Hardy from the Bills.
Definitely Deontay Hardy.
But it'll be a competition. I would say
Hardy is a specialist. So the only reason that it just left my brain.
Tylan Wallace.
Yeah, Tylan Wallace. The only reason Tylan Wallace was even back there is because Duvernay was hurt.
That's right.
So I think that Wallace is certainly ahead of the game to make the team as a depth wide receiver.
He has his experience being a gunner on special teams too.
Yeah, exactly. He's more than willing to play special teams. Now, I would much rather we diversify the body type we have in that room, because he's just another sub 6 foot guy, and like people say he plays big. Great. I'd rather we have a guy who is big, who plays big.
Yeah. So long as it's not a Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, right. But I mean,
that's the biggest thing.
I'd rather have Quentin Johnston than fucking Tylan Wallace.
Oh Lord, no, sir. Keep that man away from here. That man's big. That man's big and plays like Rashad Perriman.
I would rather have him be our 6 wide receiver than fucking Tylan Wallace, though.
See, that's fair. It just depends on the capital you're giving.
I'm saying apples to apples. I'm not saying have him be a wide receiver 1 or 2, but I'm saying when we're talking about at the back end of the, I want a guy. I would rather. So this we were talking about before we came on. We're talking about some of our new, kind of unknowns that we have in the building. We have Kadir Ishmael, and he is a big body kind of hybrid, like he's working out with tight ends. He is a wide receiver. He's a converted quarterback. I always like converted quarterbacks, and vice versa. I like quarterbacks who are converted tight ends or wide receivers, because they have a much better, number one, they have athleticism. Number 2, they have a better feel for the guys they're throwing the ball to. And the job they have to do and where they need to be on the field and everything else. But he's big. I think he's like 6'7". So the reason he's kind of a hybrid though is because he doesn't have the weight. So and he's gotten a lot of really good feedback. Now people are going to say it's nepotism that he got signed. I don't see it that way. I did a deep dive. I am the foremost nepotism whistleblower on the internet. And I cleared him of those charges. But obviously there is going to be always that a question there because of his dad and his relationship with the team. He is a Super Bowl champion. He is still very much around the team. He's a reporter. So, but to me, it's like that's a good thing. Having a Super Bowl father pedigree is a good thing. I'm not going to hold that against a guy. Maybe it got him the tryout, but you got to earn your way onto the team. So getting a tryout and actually getting signed are 2 different things. Now, getting signed doesn't mean he got like a multi-year deal. He's an undrafted free agent who got a tryout, who basically got a camp contract. So he's still on a long way to go. He's probably going to be a practice squad player if we're being really honest about it. But I like that. He seems to me like a kid with more upside than some of these guys we've seen come in as undrafted free agents, and we've made sort of like bits out of it. Like Drew and I every year have some white wide receiver that we pretend is going to be really good.
Sean Ryan. Yeah,
Slade Bolden, whoever it is. What was the other guy's name? Bailey Gaither. He's the one who made Kyle Hamilton look bad at the stadium practice. He's the one who put that, and it's like why anybody took 1 rep of Kyle Hamilton playing press coverage on, a slot wide receiver split wide, in a one-on-one drill, and like, oh, this guy sucks. He's a fucking safety, and he's playing a cornerback. Like, it's like, what are we talking about here? And they're in shorts, like, it's like, this is so stupid. But anyway, it sounds like the guys we have are these undrafted wide receivers that we got. So we talked about Ishmael. Another guy is Dayton Wade, is the guy who I think has gotten the most chatter as a guy who could really truly make the team, not just be a practice squad player, but actually make the 53 and be a contributor. Now, I think he'd play a lot of special teams, but a guy who could get on the field, and that's somebody who I think could threaten Tylan Wallace's spot, because I think he's younger, he's maybe a little more dynamic. Sounds like he catches everything, and it's not like he's a guy who plays big. He's got a different skill set. That's what it sounds like to me. So, and there's a couple other guys too who have caught some eyes. But again, I think they're going to be either fighting for a practice squad spot, or they're going to be showcasing to get signed somewhere else or whatever. But it sounds like EDC found a couple of decent undrafted free agent wide receivers. So, and Malik Cunningham's a guy who has impressed as a wide receiver. They've completely removed the quarterback designation from him. He's not playing quarterback anymore. And I haven't heard anybody complain about that, including him. So I think he's just sort of happy to take whatever opportunities presented to him.
Right. That's the truth. So might as well pivot on to other positions because we have time. But a little bit of forecasting. The 2026 offseason. Obviously, it's 2 off seasons away, but kind of an interesting one just because there's multiple players you got to think about that are going to have expiring contracts. Kyle Hamilton won't be one of them because obviously we're going to pick up his 5th-year option, try to get him fully extended and everything.
I think we'll get him extended long before picking up the option is even on the table. I think he gets a market-setting extension this summer.
Yep, I agree.
He's a very smart business savvy kid, man, or at least, whatever. He's a young guy, but
or at least not this current off season, but the 2025 off season. Yeah, I think it's probably what he gets paid.
Honestly, I think he gets his extension locked in as early as possible.
I can see
because it doesn't really matter if you get your extension early, because that just means then you can get another one early.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah, you get yours and then someone else gets more than you. It doesn't really matter if the next guy gets more than you, because they're just making your next contract better. And if you get your contract late, then you get older and you're on the downside, so you're not maximizing how much money you can get during your prime year. So like that was always my criticism of the way Lamar went about his contract process. It worked out fine for him, but I think if he had been, especially not having an agent, if he had been aggressive about locking in as soon as the window opened, we could be talking about him getting a second extension right now.
Yeah, honestly,
and right now he would have gotten an extension in the neighborhood of like, I don't know, 43 million, something like that. I think that's somewhere around where like Patrick Mahomes was in AAV, and now we'd be talking about him getting something closer to 60. If it's not, it would probably be going into next off season, but that's where he'd be. So, I mean, again, it's crazy to even talk about. Like, who gives a shit? Like he's rich beyond his wildest dreams. That money it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I think that's where it's up to these guys make their own decisions. And but I think that Kyle Hamilton's gonna be one of those guys that takes advantage of the window early on, because then he knows he can tap into it multiple times. So
most definitely. Well, make that point, especially with how overly inflated the QB market's become, with Trevor Lawrence being the highest paid player in NFL history of
crazy,
all people.
Ridiculous.
I mean, timing is everything. Gonna be good for him, and obviously Jag's gonna jag because they've been doing dumb shit like this for years. Like, but what the fuck has he done for you? His rookie year, I mean, yes, it was with Urban Meyer, and that was a whole dumpster fire of a fucking shit show. And he was horrible, straight up horrible. Second year, first year under Doug Peterson, solid. But look how he played a year ago. he regressed.
Yep.
So, and you made him the highest paid player in the league. What are you doing? You're not going to be able to build a fucking team, and you're going to be back picking in the top 5 like you've been doing for a long time already.
And that's what makes it really stupid to me is they're going to be in a position to take, like, they didn't need to do that. They can take another quarterback, and he's not a quarterback he's not like, we don't want to have to replace Lamar Jackson. You can't do it.
No.
You can
Be quite honest. If Trevor Lawrence is my quarterback, I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders.
Well, you can
honestly.
You can replace him through the draft, or you can replace him through free agency, and you can upgrade.
Kirk Cousins better than him, even with the lateral.
Yeah, at the very least, you can go lateral, but like he is a replaceable quarterback. You certainly don't have to overpay to keep him. So I don't understand the approach there at all.
No, not at all.
He has not done anything that has shown me that they should have taken that approach to getting him re-signed. They should have. You offer him a below market deal to stay. You're basically saying, like, basically what EDC did with Rashad Bateman, but obviously oriented towards a quarterback who is, I would say, in the 18 to 24 range of starting quarterbacks. I think that's where he lands for me.
Yeah, it's fair. You can say that, especially after last year, because he was not good. Like,
what really fucks things up is like Daniel Jones got paid, but Daniel Jones, when you look at his contract, is getting paid fairly compared to everybody else. Like, I think he's getting paid like $40 million a year or something like that. So when you compare that number to everybody else, that's probably what Trevor Lawrence should be getting paid. That if you put their numbers side by side, they're almost identical.
Yeah. Well, that, I mean, was 1 second. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, I was listening to Around the NFL like a while back, and they asked, because of how bad Daniel Jones has played after his first year into that extension, whose contract would you rather have, Daniel Jones or Deshaun Watson? And it was an interesting think piece, just because they were both really bad. But here's the thing: I think I'd rather. I feel like the answer is pretty easily Daniel Jones, because you can eventually get out of that. Deshaun, you're just fucked.
Yeah.
He gets struck by lightning, and you still have to pay his family the rest of the money that you owe him.
Yep.
It is just straight up. You're done. Like, even with Burrow's extension, even with Trevor Lawrence's extension, there's nothing worse in sports than what Watson got, because you're on the hook for every penny, no matter how good or bad he plays. Like, at least with them, you'll eventually have an out. It might be a minute, but you're gonna have an out. Like, even Russell Wilson, the Broncos even had an out. They're paying him $39 million to go away, but again, they're done after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're like hoping like credible allegation against him comes out where he like gets arrested and put in jail, so they can void his contract.
Yep, void his contract and seek back pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like, please, dear God, let us make Jameis Winston the starting quarterback.
Just they just have one of their fucking interns just setting DS. Hey man, here's a new listing of this new massage parlor. Ask for this person right here, Deshaun. Right.
Oh, hey, Deshaun, you got treatment today, but our the therapist he's out sick, so just go to this address and ask for the special.
Yep, ask for the special, the special of the day. That's fucking terrible, but still. But with this looming offseason coming up, not offseason, but 2 off seasons from now. Actually, well, next offseason we're gonna have Mark Andrews in the last year of his deal, Isaiah Likely in the last year of his deal, Charlie Kohler, obviously Ronnie Stanley is a free agent after this season, but then you got the dilemma of the two Nigerian edge rushers with Owe and Ojabo. This is kind of a big year for all those players. I mean, Andrews is coming off the hip injury, but still, and not to mention, Father Time is undefeated unless you go to Europe and get that experimental treatment like Tim Duncan and Kobe got. You don't suddenly find the fountain of youth, typically, especially at his size. So
right.
again, so begs the question. I mean, we won't know until we know, but at least at this stage, who do you keep and who do you let go? Ojabo, this is a big year for him because
huge. Yeah.
It's either do it or you're not going to be on the team next year. And it was a waste. I didn't want to be in a wasted pick of 45.
Yeah. So here's my thing about Ojabo, and people are the hyperbole around him bothers me. He has only been on the field for 5 games, and he has produced when he's been on the field for 5 games. So like people are like, I think dumbass Dr. Tom said he's the I don't know if you compared to Bateman or Perryman, but like he has produced. He's been good when he's on the field. He's just gotten hurt. So I fully expect if we get a full season of David Ojabo, he's going to wow people. You get 16, 17 games out of him. He's going to have double-digit sacks. He's going to have like 6 or 7 forced fumbles. He's going to be a disruptive force. So like not re-signing Clowney. I mean, the money was obviously the biggest thing there, but it's also there's trust in the upside of a full season of Ojabo means that we don't need Jadeveon Clowney. We don't need the production we got from him because it is going to come from the combination of Ojabo, Owe, and KBN, and we just drafted another edge rusher who, is basically cut from the same mold. Yeah, he's the same. Yeah, Isaac is cut from the same cloth as Owe, but he's not nearly as raw. He's
and he also more produced
player. Right. Exactly. Fucking Christ.
But yeah, so I mean,
this game is not going well. So I see Ojabo as a guy. My expectation is he is going to have a good season. The only way he doesn't is if he gets hurt again, and that would be really disappointing. Now
it would.
I still don't see it as a wasted pick because it's not like he's like torn his Achilles over and over and over again. They're different injuries, and it's not.
Yeah.
So and that would be like saying Rashad Bateman was a wasted pick. Now that you can make that argument, but are you making that argument because he's been hurt or because he hasn't performed? Because he has been hurt.
Yeah, but it's both. Right? It's both though. It's right. Definitely both because him not performing is on him more so than it's a bad pick because coming out everyone was excited about it. Yeah. So well, except for Hayden Hurst, aka Grant. Sure. It's all right, but still, then your point is well made. Like that was the most popular pick among the Ravens fans on Twitter. Was
right.
They wanted some Rashad Bateman.
Yeah. Now with Ojabo, I still see the pick as it's the value in that pick was you can't not make the pick considering we needed an edge rusher. He was a guy who had a top 10 he would have been the pick at 13 or 14 had he fallen all the way down. Right. He had potential to be a top. He had potential to be a top 10 pick.
Yeah, he did.
Definitely top 15. And the only reason he was there when he was there is because he got hurt, and we decided we were willing to eat that first year. Now, then him coming out and getting hurt again, that obviously you can't predict the future. And it wasn't like he got hurt because of the injury that we drafted him with. So that's where it just is annoying to me, where people are like, oh, well, we shouldn't have taken him because now he's just been hurt for 2 years. The second injury has nothing to do with the first one. So
yeah. Well, that in hindsight is always 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
People were hyped at the time, and they're like, and there were those who weren't because they wanted a certain kind of mentally handicapped person beater on their team who is not an efficient wide receiver at all. Like no, at all. Like again, he can make spectacular catches, but he usually catches maybe half the passes gone his way or less than that. I mean, if you're him, you got to at least be above 60.
Right, and he's been
56, 57,
and
52.
Outside of the stats, he's been a pain in the ass. So.
Oh yeah, total fucking head case. Like
the fact that I don't even know.
Which is why again, brilliant pick by the Steelers. Keep drafting these fucking head case wide receivers and just having a shit show in there. Please keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't know that he was ever on our board.
I doubt it. I definitely doubt it. So all things considered, because even that same breath, okay, you don't take Ojabo there. Pickens probably isn't the pick either. And from there, if you really, 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 really want a wide receiver, who's left?
Well, there were other wide receivers taken after Ajabo and before Pickens. So
Yeah,
and there were other edge rushers. There were other
I think it was
so
what
we didn't.
I think it was what Tutu Atwell went before Pickens, or was he after?
It was Atwell and somebody else.
Yeah,
I believe. I think there was two taken because we picked 43 and Pickens went 50.
I think 52,
52 or 53.
something like that.
So there were two more taken. And then I think Sky Moore was the next one.
Oh yeah, that's right. The little wide receivers, because him and Tutu Atwell, you need to be this tall to be on the ride, and Tutu Atwell is this tall. So I mean, that's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's a big year, it's a big off season for him, but he's in good hands. He's in good hands. That was it with.
And honestly, it's a big year for Owe because he got the 5th-year option. So the team has basically told him,
you need to be our new Jadeveon Clowney.
Well, and the team has told him, all right, his trajectory has earned him that 5th-year option where he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid more. I believe he's making more than Clowney. Not this year, but he will in his 5th year.
He will be. So about $13 million.
So he's going to be making better than veteran free agent money. And not veteran minimum, but veteran, competitive veteran money out there. So basically they're saying, all right, now you got to go out and show everybody that you deserve that. And that's saying
absolutely.
You got to earn the real contract that comes after the.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely does. And I mean,
he's going to be motivated for sure. And as far as what you're talking about with the tight ends, I think Mark Andrews and the team will both find a way to keep him here for most of, if not his entire career. So they'll probably extend him on short 2-year extensions. And I think likely is going to be a priority to keep here. So they'll probably give him something like a 4-year extension to keep those two guys around because obviously Lamar has good chemistry with both of them. They're really important parts of the offense. And I think having two tight ends, what the fuck? What is going on? I'm behind everybody who's watching this stream, but I don't understand this play that just happened. I feel like Gunner tagged him and then threw the ball to third base, and he was tagged again and was called safe twice. But I think we keep both of them. I think Charlie Kohler, we were talking about this before we came on. I think Charlie Kohler is going to be a guy who plays a role, has some moments where he flashes what he's able to do, ends up out on the free agent market, probably gets like a 2-year deal somewhere, making middle of the market money, and then gets a pretty big deal to go somewhere on like a 4-year deal and makes and is one of the, I wouldn't say like premier tight ends, but is like a top 10 tight end in the league and has a pretty good career. The Ravens are really good at identifying and developing tight ends, and and you can't keep them all. So I think Kohler is the guy who ends up elsewhere. And then we just find another one who we may already have him somewhere. Who knows? But I think Kohler is the one that moves on. It's just so hard for him to get meaningful snaps where he establishes himself as like a really key player in this offense. And I think that'll continue to be the case because I think Likely's only going to grow in his role. Obviously, Andrews is cemented as basically the guy in the passing offense. And I think having Likely, Andrews, and Zay, those three guys, makes it so that you don't necessarily have to go out and load up on wide receivers. You don't have to have a Zay and then another, like it's like a wide receiver 1A and a 1B, because you have two tight ends who are arguably, like top 5 tight ends, top 5 tight end talent. Likely isn't a top 5 tight end right now, but I think talent wise in any given week, he can show you that he can play with the top tight ends in the league. So having guys like that who play like wide receivers, who make an impact like a wide receiver, and then Zay Flowers being a guy who is a game changer, makes it so that you don't have to overspend or overinvest in the wide receiver position. You can, kind of go about it the way we have been. Now, I think we're getting better at identifying talent. So I'm not saying that we can get by with shitty wide receivers. I'm saying not go out and pay two wide receivers over $20 million a year. That's the big thing. Just not overspending on the position.
Or paying a high premium for Justin Jefferson or Chase.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zay is not going to be a top 5 AAV wide receiver. He's going to get paid very well, but he's not going to be a top 5 AAV guy. He's just not. He'll probably be a top 10 guy.
I can see him making Christian Kirk money, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's feasible. I think it's attainable.
I mean, the way that the salary cap's growing, I think by the time we pay Zay, he's probably going to be making like $25 million a year. That would be my guess.
I can see it. Yeah, especially.
And I think that's fair.
Especially with the way everything's blowing up. Yeah, it makes total sense.
I think he can be a guy. He can be our first ever $100 million wide receiver. Now, a $100 million wide receiver isn't necessarily going to be some milestone thing in the league wide, but for us, I think it is, because we've never really had a guy that gets paid that like that. But I think he ends up getting a 4 or 5 year deal where he's making something in that range.
Yeah, that seems feasible to me. I could see that when the time comes.
Yeah, because now, I think isn't Jefferson making 35?
Yep.
Yeah,
35.
So I think Zay ends up somewhere in the closer to like 25, and he'll be happy with that. I think Zay has to know he's not getting anywhere close to Justin Jefferson money.
No, not even close. Because Justin Jefferson is him. He makes the he's not. He not only makes the argument. It's hard to pick anyone better in the league than Justin Jefferson, wide receiver today.
The only guy with any argument to be close to him is CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb is not better than him, but CeeDee Lamb is as close as it gets to him. Where compensation wise, when he's going to make more. I don't think he's going to make more. I think he's going to be like if Justin Jefferson's making 35. I think CeeDee Lamb makes 33.
Maybe that I could see him going 35.1 or 35.5 or 36, just eclipsing him. Because again, that's the name of the game. You don't have to be the best player at your position to get paid the most money. It just has to be your turn, and you got to have the argument that you're one of the dudes. He has that argument. Chase has that argument, and he's going to exceed that. I'm 99.999% sure he's going to eclipse Justin Jefferson's money. And the Bengals are going to be hamstrung with 2 overly bloated contracts under their books. Which is hilarious. I don't know what
they're going to do with Chase, man. How they're going to handle that? Because Higgins is gone.
Oh yeah, that's the reason for it. Because they're going to pay Chase, and he's the only one they're going to be able to pay. Like they're going to have to continue to draft, and then they're going to have to let him walk.
I don't know what Higgins is going to end up making either. Because I mean, Higgins is not. Higgins is really good, but he's not in that in that tier by any stretch. He's the second best wide receiver on his own team, so he's certainly not.
Oh, without question.
I think he'll be aiming to make around $30 million a year, but
I think he's closer to 24, 25.
I think he'll make more than that, like 28 maybe. But
to see it,
his franchise tender is like 22, I think.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play on that. Yeah, it's 21 point something.
Yeah.
But
you round up to 22. Okay.
Yeah. So I think his real value on an extension is probably something in the 14-3. We're coming off a 17-5 win, and now we're losing 14-3.
Damn.
Yeah, I think his AAV on an extension is probably in the $28 million range. I think that's fair. And again, that's probably that may be where Zay ends up too, something in that 25-28 range.
I mean, it's plausible. I mean, and even at that point, TV deals, streaming rights, all of that, the cap's going to continue to go up. And
it's going to jump significantly. I know.
Yes.
I don't know if it's this year or the next, but it's going to go up. It's going to go up. And that's where like people talking about the Lamar deal, they don't look at it the right way. They're thinking about it in terms of today money and today cap. So the way that the cap allocation changes year by year, and the way the cap grows is it's just people talking who don't understand the number side.
Yeah.
That Lamar contract is never going to be a problem for us ever.
No, I doubt it. And even if that, like, what's what I'm looking for? At some point, it'll get to a number on the cap against the cap where EDC's like, all right, we're not going to roll with this. Let's do another deal.
Right. No, that's it's already structured for that. So,
Yeah.
and, I mean, it's structured for him to outperform the way it's written now, and that's when the big cap hits start to come in. So then they come back to the table, they rework it. He gets a new deal. He makes more money, and they basically make him a Raven for life. Everyone's happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
He will never play anywhere else.
No, he's going to retire. He's going to be the third name engine among. What do you think of the Baltimore Ravens franchise? Actually, no, he's going to be the second, maybe the first. But I would probably at this point say his second. You'll think of Ray Lewis.
It's going to be
at the end of his
Ray
career.
Lewis and him. Yeah, Ray Lewis and
Lamar Jackson. Then Ed Reed.
And then Ed Reed. And yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's where it's going to land. Because I mean, he's in rare company to where his current career trajectory is to wind up in Canton with a gold jacket. He's
absolutely
one of only a handful of players who are 2-time league MVPs. Like,
right.
You can say
so
what you want, whether it's a
yeah.
down year or whatever the fuck, who gives a shit? He has that on his record. He's a 2-time league MVP, and nobody can take that away from him.
He is,
and every other person who has that accolade is in Canton.
Right. It's hard to like see it this way when you're living it, when you're in the middle of it, it's happening. But when Ray Lewis was playing, he was doing things that were unbelievable for his position and like you just weren't used to seeing. And Lamar Jackson is that same thing. Like he does things that you just are like, what the fuck? What am I seeing?
Yeah.
So like Lamar Jackson is going to be that guy where we're going to have two Ravens who are just like kind of transcendent players at their position.
Absolutely. I mean,
now I don't think you're ever going to hear people say Lamar Jackson's the greatest quarterback of all time, but you're going to have people say Lamar Jackson is like the most dynamic quarterback of all time.
Probably. I mean, the only way he can potentially enter the GOAT conversation, he has to get some rings and put up gaudy numbers. But at the same time,
never going to happen.
Yeah,
never going to happen.
The numbers that's not his game. Yeah. Championships is a different story. Let's however many they come, let's get it. But yeah, the number wise,
he's just never going to win 7 rings. So like, it's just never going to happen. No. He's never going to win 7 rings. That's just if that were to happen, great. It's just that's not going to happen.
No, I don't see it either.
He could conceivably win like 4 or 5 MVPs.
Plausibly,
that could happen.
Which would time.
That's crazy.
Peyton, I think Peyton Manning's the only one with 4 or 5 MVPs. I think he has 5. Let's see, because he was co-MVP one year, I think, with Steve McNair, and then he won it outright, I think, in 2004, and then that's 5. Then 2008, down year, whatever. I think some people were giving it to somebody else. I think Drew Brees, and they gave it to Peyton Manning. The following year, Peyton won in 2009. And then that 1 year where he threw 55 touchdowns with the Broncos, he's MVP that year. So he's 5-time MVP. So again, there's only one dude.
Hold on.
There you go. Double check that research, but I believe that's right. I believe he's a 5-time MVP. Yeah. I believe it's 03. What's it? 03, 04.
You're right. 5-time MVP.
Yeah, fucking wild shit. If Lamar would ever get to that, that's rare company. If he got to that, you'd have to be mentioned. I don't know if you can say he is, but
no, Tom Brady is the greatest. He's winning 7 rings, winning and
multiple MVPs,
multiple MVPs, and winning the ring, winning all those rings with one team, and people saying it's the coach, and then leaving and going and winning a ring immediately on another team.
Yeah,
that's goat shit right there.
It is. It literally is. Not to mention, because he started off like the beginning of his career, he wasn't putting up gaudy numbers. And then he got Randy Moss and Wes Welker. So he started putting up gaudy numbers. By the end of his career, he was putting up numbers and winning. So, I mean,
right,
whatever you want, he's got it.
Yeah, exactly. He's got it all. So that's what like Lamar Jackson. I don't think anybody will ever say he's the greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest player of all time. But I think there's going to be a lot of superlatives that he gets, and I don't think anybody calls Ray Lewis the greatest player of all time, but he is known as one of these. Like he was just like in his era. He's a transcendent talent.
And you can't have a conversation about the greatest defensive players ever without mentioning.
Right.
He's the greatest.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Lamar Jackson's going to be one of the greatest offensive player. Yeah, he's going to be one of the greatest offensive players that anyone's ever seen play. So people still talk about like Michael Vick that way, and Lamar Jackson's obviously even now already better than Michael Vick,
without question. Exactly.
And Michael Vick will tell you that.
Yeah. So he was out like pretty much every mobile quarterback that comes out. They usually trot out Michael Vick on Fox Sports to talk about him. He always says, "Yeah, that is better than me." Kyler Murray, oh yeah, better than me, better than I ever was. Fuck yeah.
That's bullshit. Kyler Murray is nowhere close to fucking Michael Vick, but
nah, he's a little kid running around the playground. It's always funny as hell to look at, but still. But no, that would be some wild shit if Lamar got that many MVPs, because then the only other person to do that is Peyton Manning.
Right.
So then you're in the mix at that point. I don't know if you can have a top 5 without having it.
What would be
you
crazy?
Might not have the numbers, but
yeah. Well, here's the crazy thing: if Lamar was able to win MVPs at the back end of his career, when he's not relying on his legs as much as he does now,
absolutely.
When I say rely, I shouldn't even say rely. When he's not using his legs the way he uses them now, because I don't think he relies on them so much as it's just instinctual. Like I said, like it's a dynamic skill set where he can kill you anyway. But like if he turns into a guy who is pass first and he's still able to run, but he's not as shifty, or he just doesn't take off the way he used to, and he's still in MVP conversations or still winning them, then that's going to be an interesting conversation to have. We should talk about the true main event of what has gone on with the Ravens since the last time we had a show.
That's right. There is a new alternate helmet out there with a secondary logo of the other Raven on the side. Actually, you usually see Todd Monken wearing that hat in the booth with a
where else you can find that logo? You can find that logo permanently inked onto Drew's arm.
That's right. He does have that tattooed on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
you get that.
We just get another one. Okay.
You get that with
come back here
with a purple helmet and gold face mask. So
face mask, gold. I think they call them claw stripes. That's what they call those stripes down the middle.
Yep.
Alternate logo on the side.
Perfectly matches the color rush.
Yes. So, and we didn't see the color rush last year. So, and people were wondering why, and this is why.
This is why.
Yeah. So now we have a true. I always thought this when we wore color rush, it looked a little bit silly with the black helmet, because that's not color rush.
No.
It's and I like the color rush uniform because it's like almost like a matte purple color throughout.
Yeah.
I like the gold. The gold detail.
The gold numbers.
Yeah, the gold numbers, and then the gold stripe down the middle of the white stripe on the leg. The helmet is really cool. And here's my only complaint. I don't love that logo. It's fine as an alternate logo, like for shirts and stuff. I don't love it on the helmet. If they were going to go with an alternate logo, an existing alternate logo, I would have liked to see them use the shield that's on it's the shoulder patch on the jerseys. And
I can see that.
to change the jerseys, to change those color rush jerseys and carry the striping that you see down the leg of the pants and do a shoulder stripe like that on the jersey. So, but the helmet's still really cool. The whole thing looks awesome because it's really like, again, I thought that the wearing this, and we didn't have a choice. You couldn't have an alternate helmet before, but the black standard helmet with the color rush jerseys looked a little weird to me, and now everything ties together. It looks really cool. It's a matte purple helmet, which I've been clamoring for years. I wish they would switch the black on the standard helmet to matte as well. I think that would look nice, but I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
Another thing I've always thought is like you're doing an alternate helmet. I wish they would have just done something completely different, not used any logo we've seen. And since we are a bird team, I would have liked to see them do wings on the helmet.
I can see, yeah, that would have been cool.
So like black wings with like gold and white detailing in it. Or
Yeah.
I'm not the graphic designer, but I think that would have been cool to do a winged helmet. Since it is an alternate and we're only going to see it once or twice a year. This year, I think we've confirmed we're only seeing it once. I'm already putting my prediction on the record that it's going to be against Buffalo Week 4 on Saturday Night Football. So there's only 2 games that it could possibly be, and it's that one or the Bengals game. And I think we're going to go blackout against the Bengals on Thursday. And the Bengals are going to wear all white. So
it's about
we're going to play the
Black
Bengals.
Panthers versus the Klan.
Yeah, as long as it's Lamar versus Burrow, we're gonna have a. I think we're gonna have a home. We're gonna have a home, or I guess I shouldn't say home. We are gonna have a prime time matchup with them every single year. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
And I believe it's gonna be a black versus white game. So I think we're gonna every year we'll wear all black again. So I think that'll be that game, and that's like week.
It's
9.
week. No, it's later.
Week
than
7.
It's no later
week 8.
Than that. I think it's
November 7.
10 or 11. I think it's week 10 or 11 because it's
okay.
Immediately following the Broncos, which I know Drew doesn't want it, but that's the game I'm kind of thinking about coming out there. I thought about the commies, but my cousin, my roommate, my brother, my cousin, whatever. His parents took me when I was 15, so he's basically my brother, but he's my cousin. I'm his best man at his wedding, and he's getting married that weekend. So,
okay. Well, you got to go to that for sure. Yeah,
exactly. So, I'm leaning towards Denver. Not to mention, here's just a little rebuttal for Mr. Drew. I understand the juju from the last time there's a gathering.
You weren't there.
Broncos. I was not. And here's the thing with us: I don't know how many games the Canadian man has gone to, but we know of 2.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was a win. But it was a costly win. It was a win we were very bitter about. The second game was the AFC Championship game last year.
Yep.
So I'm saying it seems to me that the Canadian offensive line guru could be a little cursed.
I think
that's all I'm saying.
He will freely admit that is the case too.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so whenever you come, we need to get this locked in because we have to do a live show.
Yes, we do.
I'd say we do it at the tailgate before the game.
I mean, shit, if we can get like a Blackstone or whatever, I'll fucking cook. I don't care. Get some fucking meats and shit and cook some good shit. But nonetheless, that would be the plan. The Broncos seems like the most feasible one because otherwise, because you figure November, December is the best time. But the only other games after that are Bengals Thursday night. I ain't doing that.
No.
Philly Thanksgiving weekend. That's tough. Plus the flights through that holiday. Fuck that shit. Home against Pittsburgh right before Christmas. That's tough. And then you got the last game of the year against the Browns.
November 3rd, I believe.
Yeah, for the Broncos one. Yeah, that's like right after Halloween.
Yeah. So that's a good one actually because for you especially because it's when daylight savings time ends. So it's it'll be a little bit kinder to your time change.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards right now is Denver. Not to mention, just for the sake of Drew's record and for record keeping, not saying this will promote good fortune, but just for the record, for Ravens games I've gone to, I'm like the Ravens have been 3-1 in games I've attended, and they're currently riding a 3-game winning streak. So, all right, just a little food for thought.
Yeah. Well, if you go to that game, then I will deviate from my standard operating procedure, and I will go to the game too.
I got you. Yeah, I intend to. I'll pick a spot behind one of the end zones, and I will fucking be there. We'll gather. We'll do the who you with fucking Lil Key coordinate.
We'll do a whole zone 32 all at once. Who you with? That'll be cool.
Absolutely. But that would be the plan. But anywho, it's a little bit later in the evening for you, and it's still daylight for me. So that's going to do it for this week's installment. We'll be back with more bodies at some point to discuss this, that, and the other. This death ain't gonna sound good, but it doesn't matter. It's time for me to die.
That actually sounded awesome. No, that was your best death in like a year, probably.
Dude, that's...
We have to blame it on Drew.
Yeah, that's right. Drew is the hex this time.
Yep.
Drew is the hex.
Yep.
I cannot die a satisfactory death with Drew present. So,
yep.
Food for thought. There we go.
Zone 32.